Welcome back to our ongoing study in the Gospel of Matthew. We will be looking at Matthew chapter 27 and verses 41 and 42. I will be using a translation, English translation, that is new to this study and this reading. The translation I'm going to use is the Lexham English Bible. The name may not be readily familiar to some people. It is the translation that is a part of the Logos material. Logos is a large suite of biblical studies material that you can get through a subscription service through Logos. They begin with a very basic free all the way up to a larger package where you buy various pieces and books to help you and aid you in biblical studies. Matthew chapter 27 and verse 41. In the same way, the chief priests, along with the scribes and elders, were mocking him, saying, "He saved others. He's not able to save himself. He is the king of Israel. Let him come down now from the cross, and we will believe in him." Did you know there is a real art in being disingenuous? You know what? It does not happen or occur easily. It takes real skill and ability to be disingenuous. You know, where you're sitting down to enjoy a nicely prepared meal and have a bit of family time in the midst of the hustle and bustle of a busy midweek schedule. And you know what happens? The phone rings. You pick up the phone if you have a landline, or if you're like a lot of people nowadays, you take it out of your pocket and you proceed to talk to the individual. The person on the other end is polite, perky, and personable as they try to impress upon you the need to have your ducks clean. Ducts. This is the case even though you live in an apartment building and you have radiator heat. Or another example we can think of it could be the sales clerk who makes a beeline for you when you enter the store. They are all smiles as if their long lost cat, which had been lost for a long, long time, has finally returned home. They are so glad to see you and are quite willing to talk to you until they find out that you're only in that store because this shopping mall is new and unfamiliar to you, and you've made an appointment to meet someone at a restaurant in the mall, and you are just simply there to get directions. There are people who are out in the world who become masters of being disingenuous. In the time and place of Jesus' crucifixion, you had the religious establishment, who were masters of being disingenuous. They are letting people know they are not against believing in Jesus. No, 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 we are quite willing to believe in Jesus. In fact, they said, if he only unbuckles the nails and gets himself down from the cross, we will believe. They were, after all, people of faith and commitment, people of religious, rigorous standard of belief and commitment. They were people ready to believe. Yes, we are people who desire the truth. Jesus come down from the cross, and we will believe. The reality, of course, is that they had no desire to believe in Jesus. That is, no desire to believe in Jesus if it was on Jesus's terms. The religious leaders believed in Jesus on one level, after all. They crucified him. They knew that Jesus was real. Understand, it was not about belief. It was about Jesus ultimately refusing to conform to their set of beliefs. Notice the distinction. They were willing to believe, but the problem was Jesus would not conform to their sets of beliefs. In the church, in every place, in every age, there are people who are disingenuous. Well, I'm not saying in every church all the time, but I think I've been in enough churches to know that these people are always, just about always, to be found in a church. They are Christians on their terms. Like the religious leaders of old, they are telling Jesus to conform to their beliefs and practices. They believe they can have Jesus on their side and fail to see, like in the first century, Jesus does not conform to anyone's beliefs and practices. A very, very sad part of Christian ministry is when you work with and deal with people who have learned the practice of being disingenuous in the faith. And as you begin to work with them over time and begin to unpeel, as it were, the layers that are there, and you get eventually to the very core of who and what they are, and they come face to face with the fact that they really have no use for Jesus. Well, duck, watch out, because there is no fury like a disingenuous Christian scorned, to paraphrase an old expression. You see, these people can be as nasty as those religious leaders of old. One of the difficult parts of being a disciple of Jesus is to realize how inflexible Jesus is. It is to realize that Jesus does not go with the flow. It is sad to awaken to the reality that he actually meant what he said. We all have words that we have read in the gospel of Jesus, and in our heart of hearts, we're going, "Oh, Jesus, you don't really mean that. Oh, Jesus, you don't really understand my condition. Oh, Jesus, you are too nice to be that dogmatic on that point." We would love to parse and nuance what he says, and he will have none of it. There is a coldness in the faith that creates more shivers in my spine than a cold snap in January. It is to realize that Jesus is not amused with my sins and my unfaithfulness. It is to realize that he will make me into his image, even if it kills me. Ooh, Jesus, Jesus, you're getting serious here. Note the last phrase is not hyperbole. Jesus in John chapter 12 and verse 24 and onward talks about unless a grain of wheat dies. Jesus was not using hyperbole here. He was saying that the life of faith and the life of discipleship is ultimately about a death to self, to our dreams, our aspirations, our desires, our wants, our wishes. Yes, Jesus is saying, you follow me on my terms, not your terms. You see, we will only be Christians on his terms. The great heresy is to think I can be Christian on my terms.